The music isn't playing now.
SWB audio capture, not registered.
There we go. Oh yeah. Got music finally. Well, hello. Welcome to the stream. As you may have already noticed, there's now background music. It's amazing. It took some doing. I had to switch back to regular OBS because Streamlabs OBS, for whatever reason, I start it and it crashes the drivers or something. I don't really know what's going on. I'm going to look into it at some point, but it's not going to be today. And I am playing lo-fi music, Locker. So this is, the music in the background is Chill Hop. It's just, a stream, one of the YouTube videos they have. When it runs out, I will have to remember to switch videos because I don't think it's going to continue on by itself. Maybe it will. I don't know. We'll see. But it's, the main reason I chose Chill Hop is because they have very open licensing. So it's like, well, and it's what I listen to a lot anyways. But it's like light background music. Real easy licensing. I literally just have to like sign up for an account on their thing and it's good, I guess. I don't really know. I'll probably find out when they're like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then it just works and I don't have to think too much about it. I may change that in the future, but at the very least, this is baby stepping my way into having background music. So we have background music. This is awesome. That not only I can hear, but y'all can hear. So, today, and really most of this week, probably, I am going to be building a Bastyl Mini. this is the case here. As you can see, it is a 3D printed case. This is a sculpted keyboard. It's very corn-like in its layout in terms of row stagger and 3 thumb keys and that sort of thing. But it's obviously curved, so it's going to be a little bit different. And did the music die, or did it just switch songs? It just switched songs. Okay, that's going to drive me nuts. So yeah, this is a very involved build. You know, if you watched me do my accidental marathon corn build last week, that's not going to happen today. I am not going to try to build this all in one day, because it is just as complex as that, if not more so, because it's got per key RGBs, surface mount diodes. It has heat set inserts that go into this, which I think might be the first step. It's got assembly, it's got ribbon cables, it's a thing. So I'm kind of shooting to break this into 3 or 4 streams this week, depending on how long it takes me. Especially because 6 hours is, I found an upper bound to my streaming time, and 6 hours is an upper bound. It is not, like, I should probably quit way before then, but at the very least 6 hours is too much, and this is going to take me longer than 6 hours to do. So gonna try to break it up a little bit, probably do 2.5 hours today maybe of attempting to build it. There is pretty thorough documentation on how to do this, so I'm gonna be following along with that. So that looks good. Like, it's complex, but it's not difficult. It's just, I can't look at it and be like, oh, this is what I have to do. Diodes, LEDs, controller, done, right? No, this is like diodes, LED, switches. Where's the controller go? Oh, that's on a different board over here. And I have to use ribbon cable. I mean, it's just, it's complex. It's non-trivial build. So, yeah. That being said, I am going to get started on this, and I believe the first step is actually the heat set inserts, which I've never done before with a soldering iron. I've done them with a torch, like a blowtorch, because I used to work in a plastics company, doing floor work, and so I've done heat set inserts before, but it's been a long time, and it was a very different process. And I think I'm gonna pull up the guide so that y'all can see it a little bit in the corner if you want. Just so that we can all follow along together. So let's see. Add source. Oh wait, that's window capture. It's already there. Sorry. Okay. Alright, it doesn't want to show up. Let me try it again one more time. If I can't get it to work, and I'm not going to bother. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to plot this in the corner, down here, let's say. It's probably going to be really hard to read, so I might get rid of it, but let me know if you can read it, or if it needs to be embiggened or whatever. I can change it or get rid of it, whatever. Yeah, I'm really curious about the shape as well, Kyle. Like, these 3D kind of boards like this are something I've always been very curious about. and I recently was like, oh, hey, there's one that I can buy. Like, I don't have a 3D printer. I have a friend with a 3D printer, but I feel kind of weird going like, hey, can you print this for me? Even though he's like, I'll print whatever you need. Because it's a lot of work, and, you know, so if I can, like, just buy it and have it, that's kind of my ideal, I think. Because then I'm not, like, you know, taking someone's time without compensation or something. I don't know. Okay, 12 screw inserts to install. On each side, there are 4 for the plate and 2 a little bit inside the case for the MCU holder. Okay, so set soldering iron temperature to 200 degrees. I'm going to assume that is Celsius because 200 Fahrenheit probably wouldn't melt shit, except for chocolate. And it's good that I just recently set my soldering iron up with Celsius. I finally just went and got unlazy and did it. Okay, so we got 2 halves here. I'm gonna put some of this back in the box. And I don't know why the window isn't showing up on the stream. Oh, because this isn't caught up. That paused. Okay. There we go. So we've got 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Looks like they gave a bunch of extra inserts. That's good. Alright. And it looks like we put them in here. And it looks like they are directional. So I think let's trim this a little bit here. One of the things that scares me a little bit about this build is that because the switches hold the flexible PCB in place, you have to hold the PCB in place and solder the switch, and then you can let go. And it's just, I don't know. This is going to be a really interesting build. Okay, so let me just see. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 for the plate. The one's flush with the bottom of the case. So, well, that's 5. Two a little bit inside for the MCU holder, so that's the MCU, but there's 5. So maybe this is a little bit out of date, but I think I can adapt. Like, I think I can be like, oh, well, there's 5 holes. I'm sorry, I keep walking away from the mic and then talking. I'm sure that's getting picked up really well. Let's see. So here's the base plate. Looks like this is like actually sided too, because these are countersunk screws and they're countersunk holes. So let's just grab this. Okay, yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes in the plate. I'm guessing that's just either outdated or, yeah. Okay, docs are wrong. Okay. I mean, like I said, I can look at this and be like, oh, I actually need 5 screws or 5 inserts, and I got the inserts I needed. So, all right. So, okay, and yes, put that on top there. So let's do this. Okay, apply a little to no pressure. Okay. Uh-oh. There we go. Ah, okay. So it says, once the insert is 2/3 of the way in, stop. I should probably read the whole thing first. Once the insert is 2/3 of the way in, stop, flip over the case, push against a flat surface. 2 inserts inside, do not push on them or they might go in too far. Okay. I think that one's probably good. It might need a little bit of angle adjustment, but I think it's fine. All right. Whoops. Okay, there's one of the base ones in. So I don't know how far I'm going to get today. Oops, that is my soldering iron tip is too long for that one. I'm going to have to change tips. I don't know how far I'm going to get on this today. But we'll see. But it's going to be more time-based, I think, than milestone-based, just because I've got multiple days of streams planned for this. And hopefully it won't be construction-based, as in my neighbor starts their construction. Yeah, I have to change tips for my iron. Wait for that to cool down. Get to use one of these old busted ones. Not good for soldering, but plenty fine for heat set inserts. Not yet. Close though. Because I am too impatient to wait for that to cool down forever. There's the skeletal mini, which is either 34 or 36 keys. Also from bastardkeyboards.com. I don't remember if I was into 34 keys or 3x5, I should say, before when I ordered this, but I kind of regret not getting it as a 3x5. Only kind of, because, you know, this is an experiment board for me. This is not really particularly a candidate for my travel board because it's too big. Like, sure, it may be better for ergonomics or something, but for the 99% use case that I want, I don't need this much keyboard for travel. Oh, I should take these out because I'm gonna be flipping this. Okay. Alright, well, there's heat set inserts on one half of the board. That was easy. Mostly this color for the nails because my friend who I was getting manicures with got this on her toes. And I thought it was cool looking, so I went with it. And I've never gotten my nails painted before, so I was like, meh. I'll roll with it, and if I hate it, I can always take it off. And I have gotten numerous compliments, so I'm pretty pretty stoked about it, actually. Well, you have nail salons in where you live? I mean, my hometown is way smaller than yours, and it has multiple nail salons. Also, Mr. Real lives in a real city. You have you have multiple diverging diamond interchanges. We only have one in the whole state. So, and it's nowhere near Portland. Sponsored by Linux Mint. I don't know if I've ever used Mint Linux or Linux Mint, whatever. Pretty sure I haven't. Manjaro. Oh, Manjaro is not Mandriva. Never mind. Alright, so that is all the heat sink inserts, at least for that particular section. I think that is just all of them. Prepare the PCBs. Soldering the components on the boards. Make sure you prepare one left and one right of each PCB. Yeah, Willem Dafoe is fantastic. Okay. One left, one right. All components of cables should be soldered on the same side. Okay, so now it's diode time. Okay, so I need to switch tips again. I'm gonna put these screws away so I don't lose them. One PCB. Let's get the ribbon cables out just in case. PCB. Oh my god. Oh nice, it's a little keychain. I think. I didn't even look at the swag stash that this came with. Very cool. Good stickers. Base parts, RGB kit. Where are my diodes? There are my diodes, I think. Diodes, okay. When did this movie come out? $2019, okay. So that's right and left. I really should figure out if I can, like, stream explosions in the sky or something like that. Because if you haven't heard explosions in the sky, you really need to. I saw them open for 9 Inch Nails years ago, and I was like, holy shit, these guys were amazing. I would pay just to see them. And then I did, and it was just as awesome as I expected. I saw them in Eugene at a very small theater, and it was awesome. And extra awesome is that it was a very, very Eugene kind of thing. There was a lady there breastfeeding her baby. And I'm like, a woman breastfeeding a baby at a Explosions in the Sky concert. That's about as Eugene a thing as I think I could come up with. Like, that's the kind of thing I would see, or I would expect to see at, like, I marked left with R. No. Oh. I thought they were reversible PCBs. Is that not? They are, but yeah, okay. Weird. That's gonna mess with me, but so long as I just make sure to put things on the same side of the board, then it's fine. Like, all the diodes go on the opposite side of the tape. That's all that really matters. But thank you for pointing that out. Because that would have... Well, no. Hang on. They are reversible, though. This one, so if this one says right here. And if I flip it over, it says left. Like, they're reversible in that they're the same PCB, just flipped over. But I think what I want is diodes on this side is left. Something. Because this is the left hand, and when it goes in here, it goes in like this, so left is showing. Yeah, I think it's right. Because it looks like it fits in there. It's just a little backward. But now that makes me wonder about these. I'm just going to do it so it's consistent. There. Now I put all the components on the side opposite where the tape is. And I can't go wrong. What could possibly go wrong? Time to fire up the fan. Okay, and that's not coming through on the mic. That's good. where the hardest part about working with these diodes is flipping them in the right orientation. And the second hardest part is not losing them all over the floor. I fixed the not losing them all over the floor thing with some blue tape, but, you know. I don't have calipers. It is very thin, though. Very thin, because it's flexible. I would say that it's about as tall as this diode. Like, I feel like these diodes are as tall as the PCB itself, if you can kind of see that on the edge there. I would say less than a millimeter. I have no idea. It's entirely possible the docs have that info. Because I believe this is an open source board. Well, you should be commenting in here. I don't even know if I have Discord open on this machine right now. Definitely not looking at it. My Fisher is out for delivery last I checked, so that'll be... after this, probably. Unless I get brave and do the... what do I have? The Ferris that I have. No, the Fisher. The keyboard that if you search for it, you find out that you actually have something wrong with your butt. No, Shagat sent that to me, I think. Huh. Yeah, there's some lag settings that I can do on my side. I haven't quite messed around with those yet. I got music working, so that's fine. It feels like FR4 on the edges, I'd say. But it is very, very thin. So it might just be very thin FR4, but I don't know how that works. Yeah, it's definitely glass-filled feel. I remember seeing something on Reddit a while back about people talking about flexible PCBs for their dactyls and stuff like that. So you might just search there to see what other people are using. Because this definitely is not the first, or well, maybe it is the first, but it's not the only board or the only instance of someone using flexible PCB material. So there's info out there about it for sure. Okay, those are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. That's all of the diodes on that half. Okay. And these diodes, I have to remember, are oriented the opposite direction from what my brain would say. Arg. Okay, that goes back over here. No, they're just oriented different than, for some reason my brain was thinking they wanted to be the line on the left side here. I hope they're correct on the silk, because that's what I'm going based on. If they're not correct on the silk, then we got bigger problems. Yes. Alright, that's one entire hand. Let's work on the other one. I'm going to set these off to the side. Here are my little pile of diodes here. Oh, interfere away. If you think I'm doing something wrong. Just for what it's worth, Quentin, I was not trying to insinuate that your silks were wrong or that the design was wrong. It's just my autopilot brain looked down and was like, oh, that's a different orientation than it wanted. Based on nothing else other than my brain said, huh. It was not a critique or anything of the sort. Yes, so let me just pull out that part real quick. So this is for the controller. And the controller goes at least according to the guide. So I haven't actually gotten there yet, but the controller goes something like this. And you solder it into the holes, and then there are some exposed holes here, and that's where the ribbon cables go. And I am looking forward to that because that's a very just unique, I've never seen that before, but it makes perfect sense. Because you gotta wire up the rows, you gotta wire up the matrix somehow anyways. And it's on a separate board, so. Yeah, this is a very cool design for sure. It sure beats hand wiring or using, what are those little single switch PCB things? While those are really cool, like, I think the Flex PCB thing is pretty awesome too. Amoebas, that's it. I can never remember what they're called, but I know what they are when I see them, and I know how to find them because I just search for, like, single switch PCB or something like that. Alright, and 3 more diodes, and we're done with diodes. Alright, that's all the diodes. Let me just do a quick run through to make sure I didn't miss any joints, because that tends to happen. Okay, those all look good. Those all look good. Those all look good. These all look good. Okay, cool. That is definitely all of the diodes. Alright. Once solder melted, remove the soldering iron, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's just telling me how to solder. Solder the other pad. Okay, so... start by soldering the 4 resistors and 4 capacitors. Okay. Let me, before I even do that, let me just clean up a little bit. So, get rid of this. Okay, I think that's all the cleanup. Alright, so... yes. Well, not quite RGB time, because it wants me to do the resistors and capacitors. Then probably the RGBs. Yeah. RGB kicks. All right. So I've got one here. Okay, so that's capacitor, resistor, and I'm assuming the capacitors are not polarized. Capacitor, resistor. Okay. And I'm assuming that is capacitor and this is resistor. Yeah, because these don't have markings on them, whereas these do, and so those numbers are the resistance values and tolerances and all that good stuff. Okay, so actually, let me just do the tin 1 pad of each thing, and I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna do stuff. Capacitor, resistor. Capacitor, resistor. I'm gonna put all the resistors on first. One annoying thing about this is sometimes it gets stuck to my arm when I'm trying to work on something. It's like, no, 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 get out of here. Come on. Hello, Mr. T. Okay, it's all the resistors. Capacitor time. Oh, nice. These don't even have an orientation to them at all. Nice. Okay, capacitor. There. Oops. Alright, this should be the last joint on this. Then I go into just wholesale RGB soldering. And that's probably where I'm going to end it after a little bit of that today, just because that's going to take some time, and it's just, yeah. But I'm still going. Alright, so let me just double check the capacitor and resistor joints. They look good on that one. They look good on that one. That one. On that one. Okay. Cool. I'm also going to do these little bitty ones first. Because why not? Install and solder all the LEDs. Make sure they are aligned properly. The shortest pin should align with the white dot indicator. So we've got white dot, white dot, white dot, white dot, white dot, white dot. Okay. Something I need to remember is that the orientation switches between sides. On all of these, but it doesn't appear to switch between rows or columns, so that's good because that trips me up a lot. Okay. LED time. Okay. It's 3D printed plastic. I don't know what kind of plastic, but it's 3D printed. Set down the soldering iron for a second. Get different tweezers. Okay, so these LEDs fit snug in the hole. That's good, I think. We will find out shortly if I continue to like that. And I am already going to go ahead and say I think I do like that they fit snug in the hole, because I'm not so worried about popping them out. Yes, I've done a lot of solder paste before. Not like stencil and reflow oven kind of solder paste, but like manually hand pasting and applying. I think my paste is over in the toolbox. On one build, I did all the SMD, the regular diodes with solder paste, and I've since found that I can do it much faster just by hand. I'm still kind of back and forth on whether or not I like or I prefer solder paste for RGBs, like this style of RGBs, the SK6812 minis. For the WS2812s, the big ones, definitely hand solder those. And for the non-mini E SK6812s, the ones that the old corne uses and stuff like that, those just throw them in the trash. Just don't bother. I hate them. One nice thing about using solder paste for these is that I know I'm getting solder under the diode leg, which I'm not 100% sure when doing it by hand like this. And so it's a little bit frustrating. But there's also, these have longer pads than legs, which means I don't necessarily have to get them quite under the leg so much, just make it extend off of the end of the leg. So the corne that I did last week, the pads were just barely longer than the legs. And so it was hard to feel confident in the solder joints, but these are a lot better. Because then I put a little solder on the top and then kind of just reflow it and slide it off at the end there. And that's exactly what I would do with solder paste anyways. So and this is way less messy. Solder paste, I feel like I have to clean. Yeah, the corne that I built last week was a V3. I at this point pretty much won't build with the non-mini E's or the non-E minis because they're just horrible. I've tried to build 2 or 3 keyboards now with them and just screwed them all up royally, like just terrible, awful. Does not spark joy. And if it doesn't spark joy, get rid of it. Excuse me. All right. Yeah, those look great. Cool. I do like the footprints that these LEDs use. They've got longer pads, which makes it easier to get good confidence in my solder joint. And they hold the LED really nicely, which I wasn't sure if I was going to like at first, and I like it. For sure. Okay. Different orientation. Oh. It's like, I don't even know if I really need to pre-tin the one pad on these. But I'm going to, because it only takes a second. I mostly do that so that I can get the LED in place, hold the LED with the tweezers to keep it from moving around, and then just kind of glue it into place effectively. But since these footprints hold the LEDs so well, might not need to do that. But we'll find out. Because when we switch over to the big boards, I'll try a couple without pre-tinning the pads. just to see how well it worked. Okay, and I say that, they hold on really well, and now they're popping out all over the place. Maybe that one's not quite the same tolerances. Ah! Okay. And of course I'm trying to do this now with my left hand. Yeah, one of the, I think 2, maybe 3 boards that I've tried to build with the non-E 6812s is the Helix. And I even ordered a ton of extra LEDs because I knew I was going to screw them up. And I went through a bunch of the extras and the board doesn't work quite right. I was building it for a friend for like a, hey, you know, you should try split keyboards, blah, 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 blah. Here, I'll build this for you and you can use it. And if you like it, you can keep it and pay me for it or something like that. But I gave up on fixing the LEDs and I told her, I was like, those LEDs are all screwed up. If you decide you like this board, I am going to build you a new one and do the LEDs right. I mean, part of it's my fault because you might notice I pay very close attention to orientation on these LEDs, and that's because on the Helix, the orientation rotates between rows, and I didn't catch that. So not only did I have to work with like the most pain in the ass LEDs that exist, but I had to desolder half of them and then do them all over again. So like, it's just a disaster, the whole thing. I mean, the keyboard itself works, but the LEDs are all screwed up. So I was like, if you like this board, that's great, but I'm gonna build you a new one. But she ended up not really being into the split keyboard thing, so I gave her, I've got an old 70% or 75 that I gave her to try out. So we'll see. Hello, keycaps. Everyone seems to be joining the fun today. Whoops, bridge. Let's see if I can fix that without too much effort. There we go. Who'd have thunk? Put some music on the stream and everybody shows up. By the way, how is the level of the music versus me talking and stuff like that? I really do wish YouTube had some sort of way to, like, I could stream music and, like, I could have different tracks of audio coming through the stream. And then that way, like, if I've got music playing, but you're like, you know, I really, really hate lo-fi hip-hop, you could shut my music off and listen to whatever you feel like listening to. I'm using 325C. Alright, there's 3 more done. And those look good. Alright, now I'm gonna try this column here with just, without pre-tacking or pre-tinning the one pad, just to see. I have a feeling I'm gonna want to pre-tin. Okay, double check orientation. Yeah, I'm keeping pretty far away from the actual bodies of the LEDs, and I'm moving pretty quick, so I haven't had any problems with temperature. Oh yeah, I want to pre-tin these, because that diode just wants to pop around while I'm... That's fine. Whoops. I'm also using a very fine, not chisel tip, but very fine conical tip, so heat is already kind of an issue. So I kind of err on the side of a little warmer. Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's funny, you're like, I solder mine at 380, but the guide says don't go over 230. But I get there's a difference between what you do and what you say. Because like you said, you're okay with burning a couple of them out. I can't imagine building 3 of these a day. That's just, whoo-hoo. It's a lot of diodes. A lot of LED legs. But probably get pretty fast at it. So Quentin, do you use paste and a stencil when you're doing 3 a day, or are you like hand soldering these like this? Because I would use paste, a stencil, and like an oven at the very, maybe not an oven, but at the very least paste, a stencil, and then I can just go bzz, 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 real quick. That's fair. Really, to make paste worthwhile, I think you need a stencil, because then you basically go shh, and all your pads have solder paste on them, and it's like, then you plop in the components and stick them. But the stencil is the trick. Alright, and I said I was going to pre-solder the pads, so I might as well go around and do all those real quick. Yeah, maybe hot air. It's funny, my first stream that I did was I built a macro pad, and I shared it with some work folks. And I was talking about on that stream a bunch of surface mount diodes on the original ergodox that I built back in like 2015, years and years ago. And I was like, yeah, if you're doing that many surface mount pads, you need a hot air station. And look at me here. I still don't have a hot air station, and I'm doing a shitload of surface mount pads. But I've also built a lot of keyboards since I said that, so... You know, opinions can change. How about instead of an oven, like a hot plate? Is that enough? I haven't tried any of these, like I've used paste, but only with an iron. Because the nice thing about paste with an iron is, like, say I've got the paste on all 4 of these pads. I can literally take, if I had a chisel tip, it's probably even easier. I put it on both of these pads and just go down the one side and then spin it around, go down the other side, and I'm done. And it's literally just like, hold the iron there until it smokes for a second and then let off. And all the flux is gone and it's perfectly pasted. And I melted that case. It's probably fine, but I'm gonna toss it. I have extras of these. That's what I get for talking instead of soldering. Oh yeah, 5 to 6 seconds is a long time to hold your iron against an LED. Like, I'm doing a couple of seconds at most. And not even against the side of it. It's just like right at the very end of the leg. Because like I've got this one pad here tinned. And I push down a little bit on the center of the diode or the LED just to hold it in place. And I just grab the edge of the tinned pad and melt it just enough for it to stick for now. And then I go and do the pads. And what I'm shooting for is the very end of the leg. But the soldering iron itself on the pad. So I do this. Whoops. A little ball here. So I do this. Try to hit the iron there. Let off for a second. And then I'll reflow it onto the pad. If it needs to be. And just kind of go quick with it. Huh. Yeah, I feel like a lot of temperature and stuff just comes down to like comfort level and technique. Because some people are like, oh, you should use high heat because then it's like quick in and out. And sure, that's fine. Some people are like, you should use low heat because you have less chance to damage the component. Some people are like, use high heat and damage the component and replace it. You know, I mean, there's all this, you know, kind of what you're up to or what you're comfortable with. And, you know, how you kind of develop a system over time. There's no real perfect way to do it. I mean, I'm sure there is, but If you wanted it perfect, get PCB assembly or something. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's kind of a, does it work? Great. Then you did it right. Could you have done it better? Maybe. And if you could have, incorporate that into your next attempt. Get better. I used to avoid RGB, or for a while I was avoiding RGB, but really, they're not that bad. But the non-E SK6812 minis are just terrible. Throw them out. Get rid of them. Maybe I will pull a Tom someday and sit down and like just buy a PCB that's all of those. You know, design a PCB that's got like 100 of them on there, 100 pads, and then just go nuts trying to solder them and stuff. But, you know, I don't think I want to torture myself like that. At least not today. That's a good question. I don't really know why I like chocks so much. I think part of it is because I'm on the low profile server, so I get exposed to a lot more chalk boards and stuff like that. Like the Ahokore and the boards. Yeah, I don't know. I really do like MX switches, and I'm kind of, in the long run, my main squeeze board is either going to be chalk V2 switches. Uh-oh. Did I just drop some? No? Weird. Okay. My main squeeze board is either going to be like chalk V2 switches, which I have on a corne, or it's going to be boba U4s, because I really like the tactility of the bobas, and they're quiet. I've just been lately using chalk boards. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't think there's really any rhyme or reason other than I'm on the low profile server, and so I tend to go that route. But this is going to be MX switches. I think I'm putting Box Jades on it just because I have a bunch of them that I need to use, and I've heard good things. Might as well. But my current MX switch, my favorite MX switch, has got to be boba U4s. And I do have some of the new switches. This is my Reviung, but I used to have boba U4s, but this is the Mid-Pro MX switches from, I always want to call them Gazoos, but I was told they're not Gazoos yet because these aren't Gazoo branded, and the Gazoo branded ones are going to be a little different. But these are the kind of the prototypes for those switches. They're lower profile MX compatible. But I don't like them that much. At least not this round of them, because they're tactile. They're really nice and tactile. They have a real nice snap to them on the downstroke. But these are kind of loud, and they're like inconsistently loud. Like these have a clack to them. These don't. They're weird. But I really like the Chalk V2 Browns. So who knows? I just build a lot of keyboards. Is really what it comes down to. Another reason I would say that I might tend to lean more toward low profile boards is because a big reason, or a big thing that I'm trying to do, is find the board that's going to go in my backpack with me when I spend 5 years walking around the world. And so the obvious choice for that would be low profiles. And low profiles tend to take nicer, like chalk switches tend to be nicer when you're doing plateless builds, and I like plateless builds, and you know, just a bare PCB with some switches attached. The chalk, you know, I have these soldered on, but this is just a PCB with switches on it. Like, but these are chalk V2s, but they're lower than even these. So I don't know, kind of rambling. Whoops. And moving a plugged-in keyboard around. But my MX Revion 41 is probably my favorite keyboard right now. Although I did just start using my Chalk V2 Corne again on my streaming rig. And that's been really nice. So who knows? Change keyboards like you change underwear, right? Once a month. Keep them fresh. Alright, how long have we been going for? A little over 2 hours. Okay, I am going to... because I'm almost done with this side. Well, I'm actually going to ask while you're here, if you're still here, Quentin, how difficult is it to, before soldering switches and assembling and all of that stuff, get a controller hooked up to this such that I can test that the LEDs all work? Because that's what I would like to do with the rest of today's stream, if that's not difficult. Because otherwise, this is going to take me 45 minutes probably, and I don't know if I feel like doing that right now. I'll do some of the prep work for it, but I think I want to call it in... I think I'm going to do like 20 to 30 more minutes of stream, so... Because I think it involves, like, skipping down to the controller setup, right? For the controller thing. Do you read the instructions for lead C shield? Okay. Maybe I will skip down to the shield, or the controller breakout section of the guide. I would really love to test all these and get all these LEDs fully working before I put the whole thing together. This doesn't look like my board. Alright, I'm gonna skip to the next one here. Go back to this. RGB components. Okay, prepare the Elite C. Do not install the audio jacket. Do not install the reset button yet. Do not solder. I remember seeing those things, so I'm not going to install the audio jack or reset button. Read all the instructions first and follow them carefully using the pictures. I like pictures. It's all good. I'm adaptable. Mostly. So I'm assuming these are the reset switches that I don't want to install just yet. I've got controllers. Probably gonna want headers. Okay. I don't know. That is one thing I'm curious about. The whole thing seems very corn-like. Just with a curve on a couple of different axes. That's kind of what drew me to it. Because I like corns. I've got 5 of them. And I'm about to have a 6th one, if you count the Zen. And one of these days, I'm going to take my plates, extra plates that I have, and build a hand-wired corn, just for grins. Because I've never done a hand wire build, and that would be fun. Okay, prepare 2x6 header pins. So I'm assuming just make sure... Okay. Prepare... Instructions for the top. So this is the top. Elite C goes on there. Also, Quentin, I'm assuming I can't, or I shouldn't trim off the plastic bits. Like, that's actually needed there for alignment with the case. Because I have a habit of doing that. Just rip the plastic bits off and get the controller flush down to the board as possible. I'm just... Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. I actually screwed up on that on this macro pad because it's got a hole for the port, and as you can see I had to trim it out a little bit because it was expecting the header pins, or the little plastic bits on the header pins there, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was just like, flat against the board. But no, that was wrong. What am I doing? Get this out of here. Okay. I'll get the rest of the stuff out of here too. What am I even doing? There. Okay. Okay, I'm also assuming that should be flat straight across and not like angled. So I'm trying for that. Measure twice, cut once. Is that the correct orientation for all this? Where's my other one? There it is. B0, ground, resets. Oh, I see. And this one is not double-sided. Or reversible, rather. Okay. Just making sure everything is up to snuff. Install Elite C cables and jack on this side. Okay. Oh, does the... Yeah, why read the docs when I have the creator in my chat? Okay. No, this is good. Give me shit. I appreciate it. I do genuinely appreciate it. Yeah, no, it looks really complex, but the more I get into it, the more I'm like, you know, that's actually all pretty straightforward. Like, when I first saw this, I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, it's only half of the controller? How does that work? And then I looked at the docs and I was like, oh, the rest of them are ribbon cables that go to the daughter boards. Okay, that makes perfect sense. It is a little intimidating at first, though, just because it's, you know, multiple PCBs. This is the most complex build I've ever done by a huge margin, so... but that's part of why it's like, I want to do this, because that makes it extra fun. And then I'm also glad that I'm doing this over multiple days, because I don't think I could do it in one day from scratch without ever looking at it. Not without being like an ultra marathon stream, which I don't feel like doing this week. Oh, come on. Especially when I start having heat problems with my iron again. This tip is just... need to use a little shmoo on it, I think. By the way, if you ever use this stuff, absolutely do not inhale the fumes. They hurt bad. Like, really bad. Oh, much better. The iron is a weller, yeah. I don't know about the tip cleaner. The tips themselves are knockoff weller tips, so they're not name brand. Just because they were 1/10 of the cost or something like that of the official weller tips, and these are actually easier to come by. And they work fine. I have a, yeah, they're weller enough tips, or well enough, yeah. It's a WESD 51. I've had it for like 5 or 6 years. I bought it when I built my ergodox, and then it sat in a box for like 5 years until I started building keyboards again. Oh, for fuck's sake. There we go. Well enougher. That's... yes. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, I had to install some software called what is it? SWB audio capture, which basically sets up a virtual audio device that you output to, and then it takes it and can distribute it out to wherever. And then for whatever reason, that driver and the whole setup would just crash every time I opened Streamlabs OBS. So for grins, I decided to try it with just regular OBS, and that worked. So I'm back to regular OBS instead of Streamlabs OBS, so I don't have the fun things of like, oh, well, you know, when someone gives me a follow, it pops up a little notification and stuff like that. Like, I imagine I can set those things up eventually. Those are basically free with Streamlabs OBS because it's built in. But I'm fine with that. Like, it's not like I'm getting subscribers every 5 minutes or something, you know? It'd be nice if I was getting subscribers every 5 minutes, but I'm not. But it made it so it works, and that was the important part. So Uh-oh, is that a sign that I've made it when my chat is speaking in a different language than I can read? Or is there like an achievement for that? I'm not saying don't do it, it's just funny. Yeah, I do want to get some better or third-hand tool stuff, but I tend to spin boards around a lot, or move boards around a lot, and also tape works pretty decently a lot of the time. Well, like anything in the soldering world, as far as I understand it, there's always a cheaper version than the Hako. Might not be as good, but it's cheaper. Okay. Do not solder the other pinions yet. Okay. Lines up. Okay, so now I can solder the... Okay, installing the cables is next. So I'm curious, why can't I install the reset button and the jack before doing the controller? Just out of curiosity, because I'm not seeing why. Because it says to do it now. So it's not like it needs to be like installed in the board in the case before I do that. Reset button goes on the bottom here, I'm assuming, and the okay. Anyways. Alright, so yeah, as soon as I'm gonna finish up these reset buttons and TRS jacks, and then I'm gonna call it a stream, because we're at what, about 2.5 hours? Okay, that's fair. Yeah, we're at about 2.5 hours, and that's what I was gonna call it for today. So so what I have left after this is to finish up the RGBs, and then I think it's mostly wiring and assembly, and then soldering all the switches. And the soldering of the switches part is going to take a while, because you got to like bend the PCB in and solder the switch, and yeah, it's going to take some doing to figure it out. And yeah, I really wish I had some like clamp thing right here. No, 2.5 hours would be my banana break, I think. No banana break today. Oh. Hmm. So I'm trying to make sure that I've got this lined up correctly. Shit. Okay. I'm just gonna solder this on. Okay, there we go. It'll take a little finagling, but it'll work. Yeah, they don't quite all align. It's gonna take a little smushing, I think. Oh my god, this tiny little board. I hate it. Whoops. That's like, wait, I don't know, I guess it's still kind of in shot. I have never heard that name, I don't think. See, I feel like I want to make this hole just a little bit bigger, but I don't have a boring tool. So we're gonna have to do that later. Oh, safety glasses. Well, it would not be on Facebook, Mr. T, because I don't do Facebook, but, Discord is something I've been thinking a lot about, because I do want to have, like, a channel, a discussion channel about the stream and that sort of thing, so, like, when the stream isn't going on, we can talk, but I also feel like I don't really want to make like a whole other Discord server just for my stream, or just for my like eventual other stuff that I do. But I've had people tell me I should, because then I can have bots and I can do this, and a lot of the stuff just becomes easier. I don't know. It's something I'm considering and putting some thought into, but I don't have one yet. One thing I've been trying to think about is, or one thing I've thought about is like, rather than my own full Discord, have like a channel on a community server. But one problem I have there is and I talked about this a little bit in a previous stream, but I feel like my content, my focus is a little outside of a lot of the existing Discords that are out there. Or I guess a lot, I should say, just the two main ones that I know of that I would probably be most relevant to, which are the low profile keyboards and the 40s keyboards. And the reason I say I'm outside of both of those is this is not a low profile keyboard, and I sometimes build keyboards that are larger than 40s. So like the Helix is not necessarily a 40s keyboard. So like having a channel on one of those, I don't know if it's the right fit. Plus, I don't know anything about the 40s keyboard server. I'm not on it. I don't use it. Like I was on it for a long time, but just muted. Right now I'm not. But like the low profile server, I don't think is the right fit. And so that's why, you know, some people are like, oh, just make your own. So I might end up doing that. Like I have a Discord server set up, ready to go for the most part. If I ever feel like making it happen, you know, flipping the switch. But I haven't gotten there yet. But we'll see. It just feels weird, like, hey, you know, I stream once a month, like, come hang out in my Discord. But at the same time, like, you gotta start somewhere, right? And I've been streaming more than once a month, so we'll see. But it definitely won't be on Facebook. Sorry. No Facebook, no Instagram. Although I do technically have the Instagram account, but I'm just squatting on it. I probably won't ever use it, but we'll see. There are a lot of things I don't like about Instagram besides the fact that they're Facebook products, but also because they're Facebook products. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. We're almost done for the day. Quit acting up. There. Finally. I guess I kind of figure the the Discord thing will happen once a couple more people ask about it. It's probably what it'll come down to. It's like, yeah, people seem to want to talk about streams afterward or whatever. I don't know. I mean, up until this recent week, my most streamer or viewers was like 3, so I didn't have a whole lot of demand. I think I was up to 14 at one point today, which is just crazy to me. 14 people watching me solder. If that's just flat. Okay. And this one goes in the other half. Yes. No, I think it will be. I think it's just it's mostly a matter of I need to reach a certain critical mass before I make that happen. Whoops. that's not right either. There. Yeah, I really want to just make this hole a little bigger. Is what I want to do. Because then this will slide right into there. So that's what I'm going to do, but I need to find a way to do that in a reasonable fashion. And that'll be for tomorrow. So, I'm going to call it there for today. I am probably going to go look into... Hey Des, you just came in right at the end of today's session. I'm going to probably go look into the Discord stuff, see what else I want to do on my server before I make it public. You know, if there's bots or whatever, I don't know how any of that stuff works. Yeah, so tomorrow what I will end up doing is there's 18 more LEDs I need to install. So I'll do those. And then I think the next step is actually wiring up the controller board and stuff. So that'll be nice. I think my goal for tomorrow is to get all the LEDs working. That's assuming that's in a reasonable distance from where I'm at. So to make sure all the LEDs work, and then go from there and start installing switches. So I probably have another... I thought this was going to take me like 4 days. I'm guessing another stream and a half and I'll be done with it. So maybe there will be some bonus stream footage or something. I'll work on one of these other boards that I have laying around that I haven't finished. We'll see. Also, I will say that I may schedule streams, but right now my streaming schedule is very dependent on my neighbor's construction schedule, and I have no idea, and she has no idea, and her contractor has no idea what that schedule is, because they're basically very like, yeah, well, we'll be there when we have time. And don't know until the morning. So I may have a stream scheduled and be like, yeah, I can't stream because construction is going on next door. And it just wouldn't be, you know, either it'd be just listening to music and watching me solder and no talking because having the mic on would be terrible, or who knows. But yes, thank you all for coming. Thank you for beta testing my audio setup. I'm glad that the music is working well. I do want to look around for more music, because as much as I love this lo-fi hip-hop channel and stuff like that, like, it'd be nice to have something else, at least as an option. And yeah, this was exciting. Thank you all for showing up. I will see you later, probably tomorrow, but later. And yeah, have a good one.